Pennywise. Pennywise has killed more children than any monster in Stephen King's universe. And the worst part? The town of Derry helps him do it by forgetting everything every 27 years. He's not actually a clown. He's a shape-shifting entity from outside our universe that crash-landed on Earth millions of years ago. The clown costume is just his favorite disguise for luring kids, complete with that red balloon that might as well be a dinner bell. He feeds on fear by weaponizing your trauma. He'll become your dead brother and ask why you let him die. He'll turn into your abusive parent and remind you that you deserved it. When you're paralyzed with terror, that's when he starts eating. The more you suffer, the better you taste. The Losers Club defeats him by facing their fears, but later stories hint Pennywise might still be lurking. And with it, Welcome to Derry now airing on HBO, we're seeing him back in action for another feeding cycle in 1962 Derry. Annie Wilks. Annie Wilks looks like someone's nice aunt who bakes cookies and watches game shows. That's what makes her Stephen King's most terrifying creation. When romance novelist Paul Sheldon crashes his car in a Colorado snowstorm, Annie rescues him. She's his #1 fan. Then Paul wakes up with shattered legs in a stranger's house, miles from anywhere, and realizes the locks are on the outside of his door. Annie doesn't have supernatural powers. She has obsession weaponized into torture. When she reads that Paul killed off Misery Chastain, she doesn't cry or complain. She walks to the shed, comes back with a sledgehammer and a blowtorch, and calmly explains this is called hobbling. The bones shatter. Paul will never walk again, which means he'll never leave. Now he writes Misery back to life. What makes Annie terrifying is how she blames you for what she's doing. Her mood swings are violent and instant. She'll bring you soup and call you Mr. Man, sweet as pie. Then you use a word she doesn't like, and suddenly she's forcing pages down your throat until you choke. Kathy Bates won an Oscar playing Annie, because Annie is the fan who thinks loving you means owning you, and when you try to leave, love becomes a sledgehammer. Randall Flagg. Randall Flagg doesn't conquer through violence. He walks into your town wearing a smile, shakes hands, asks about your family, and makes you feel heard. 6 months later, you're executing your neighbor in the town square, and you're convinced it's the right thing to do. That's Flagg's power. He doesn't force you to be evil. He makes evil feel righteous. Nobody knows what Flagg really is. Some think he's a demon who walked out of hell during the crucifixion. Others believe he's an ancient sorcerer who learned how to cheat death centuries ago. What matters is he's been doing this forever, wearing different names like masks. The Walking Dude, the Man in Black, Walter O'Dim. Each one marks another civilization he corrupted from the inside out. In the Stand, he builds a post-apocalyptic Vegas where people volunteer to be executed for disappointing him. In the Dark Tower, he whispers to monsters and bends reality like it's made of clay. In the Eyes of the Dragon, he poisons a king just to watch the kingdom burn for entertainment. Here's how Flagg works. He finds your anger, your fear, your resentment, and tells you it's actually strength. He makes cruelty feel like justice. He turns your worst impulses into policy and watches you convince yourself it was your idea all along. By the time you realize he's a monster, you've already become one too. Flagg never dies. He just changes names, switches universes, and finds new people to ruin. When you're evil incarnate, death is just a costume change. The Overlook Hotel. Some hotels give you continental breakfast. The Overlook gives you visions of your dead father and a strong urge to murder your family with a roque mallet. It's located deep in the Colorado mountains, cut off by snow for months, and it's hungry. The Overlook isn't just haunted, it is the hunger. The entire building feeds on pain, and when winter locks you in, the hotel starts whispering. Jack Torrance takes the winter caretaker job, and the hotel knows he's a recovering alcoholic with anger issues. It offers him drinks through ghost bartender Lloyd, shows him beautiful women who turn into rotting corpses, and tells him his family is holding him back. His son Danny has psychic powers called the Shining, and the hotel wants to devour that gift. Dead twins asking Danny to play forever. Topiary animals that move when you're not looking, blood flooding from elevators. The real horror? Jack typing his novel and discovering he's written all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy 10,000 times. The hotel didn't break him, it hollowed him out and moved in. Even after burning down, Dr. Sleep proves the place never dies. Some hotels check you out, the Overlook keeps you forever. Kurt Barlow. Kurt Barlow doesn't sparkle or brood. He's a type 1 vampire, centuries old, who crawled out of European crypts and decided small-town America would make the perfect hunting ground. When he arrives in Salem's Lot in 1975, he chooses the Marston house deliberately. The place has a dark history, and its evil calls to him like a beacon. Here's what makes Barlow different. He doesn't seduce you, he infects you. One bite and you die. Then you wake up different, hungry, and you know exactly where your family sleeps. Within days, you're floating outside your daughter's window, looking like like yourself but wrong, begging her to let you in. Because she loves you, she opens the window. That's how the whole town falls. Writer Ben Mears returns to his childhood town just as this nightmare begins. By the time he understands what's happening, half of Salem's lot is turned. Fighting back means staking people you grew up with, watching them scream and burn, knowing that was someone's father yesterday. The 2024 movie adaptation brought Barlow back to screens. He gets the stake treatment eventually, but Salem's lot becomes a ghost town. Some evil is so infectious, the only cure is burning everything to the ground. Cujo. Cujo didn't crawl out of hell. He was just a good dog, a big, friendly Saint Bernard who loved kids and chased rabbits. Then he stuck his nose in the wrong cave, got bitten by a rabid bat, and everything went sideways. The rabies hit hard. Cujo didn't turn evil, he just turned sick, feverish, confused, in constant pain, unable to recognize the people he loved. The good boy got buried under madness, and what emerged was a dying animal lashing out at anything that moved. Most horror creatures stalk dark forests. Cujo parks himself in a sunny driveway and turns a broken down car into a coffin. Donna Trenton and her young son get trapped inside their dead vehicle for days with no food, no water, and Cujo circling outside like a furry nightmare on 4 legs. What makes it horrifying is how ordinary it all is. No demons, no curses, just one unlucky bite and a neighborhood pet becomes a 200-pound disaster. The scariest part is watching a creature that doesn't understand what's happening, attacking out of pain rather than malice. The final confrontation is brutal. Donna's baseball bat breaks. She grabs a gun and finishes what the rabies started. By the end, Cujo isn't a pet or a monster. He's just a fever with teeth. Christine. Christine is a beautiful 1958 Plymouth Fury in candy apple red, but workers died building her. A man had a heart attack installing her engine. Another got his hand crushed and bled out on the factory floor. She rolled out already evil, possibly possessed by her obsessive first owner, Roland LeBay, who died behind her wheel. When awkward teen Arnie Cunningham buys her as a rusted wreck in 1978, Christine decides she's found her forever driver. Arnie's transformation is horrifying. He gets confident, his acne clears, but his humanity disappears. His girlfriend Lee chokes on a hamburger in Christine's front seat, and Arnie just watches while the seatbelt won't release and the doors won't open. Christine doesn't share. Here's the unnatural part. Vandals destroy Christine, smashing every window and crumpling her body with sledgehammers. The next morning, she's perfect, not repaired, regenerated. Glass reforms, dents pop out. She runs on obsession, not gasoline. The kills are ruthless. When a bully runs down an alley too narrow for a car, Christine compresses herself and squeezes through like a mechanical snake, playing 1950s love songs while crushing people against walls. Even crushed into scrap metal, a subtle twitch of chrome suggests her spirit survived. Christine doesn't die, she waits. The Langoliers. The Langoliers are cosmic janitors with teeth. They exist outside reality, and their job is devouring everything the present moment leaves behind. They're not evil, they're just eating yesterday, so tomorrow can exist. Flight 29 passes through a time rift at 40,000 feet. Most passengers vanish. The survivors land at a deserted Boston airport where food tastes like cardboard, beer is flat, and matches won't light. They're stuck in the past, and the past has an expiration date. That's when they hear it, a distant chewing sound getting louder. Then the Langoliers appear, flying metallic spheres covered in rotating razor teeth, chomping through reality like tissue paper. Buildings crumble, the runway disappears, the ground gets consumed. The only escape is flying back through the time rift, but their pilot is blind, the plane is glitching, and the Langoliers are accelerating. They take off with seconds to spare, watching everything behind them get devoured. The 1995 TV movie gave them legendarily cheesy CGI, but the concept taps into primal fear, being left behind, trapped in a time that's already over. Which monster would you least want to encounter? Drop a comment, smash that like button, and subscribe for more horror breakdowns. Sleep tight.